Devo comes from 2 Corinthians 4:17. It says, "For our momentary light suffering is producing for us an eternal weight of glory far beyond all comparison." Do you want me to read that again? Yeah. For our momentary light suffering is producing for us an eternal weight of glory far beyond all comparison. Mm-hmm. You want to break that down for me, Caleb?
Alright, so our suffering that we think it's right now, it's only light. But whatever it is, it's going to help us eternally.
It's going to help us beyond, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of glory? Because it says eternal weight of glory. Is that like vainglory? Like just our own personal desires? Or what kind of glory? For the glory of who?
God.
For the glory of God, right? What kind of suffering do you think they're talking about, Elie?
Whenever you do sins, maybe? Or wait, no.
What would you consider a suffering?
Pain.
Pain, right? Pain would be a suffering. What else could hurt?
Whenever you do something bad.
When you do something bad, you feel wrong. You feel bad, right? When people hurt you, maybe. Even if it's emotional. Pain and suffering doesn't always have to be something you can touch, like a cut or a broken arm, right? Pain can be emotional. But sometimes, like it says right here. Now, this is in 2 Corinthians. So, ready? Book quiz. Who wrote this?
Peter.
Peter.
Oh, I mean Paul.
Yes, Paul wrote it. And this is 2 Corinthians. So what is this? Is this a book? Is this what?
It's the second letter to the church in
Corinth. Yeah. It's the second letter to the church in Corinth from Paul. Where was Paul when he wrote the letter?
Yeah.
He was in jail where?
Rome.
Rome. Very good. All right. So we see that Paul is telling us about light suffering. So he's writing this while he's in jail. Unjustly, he's in jail suffering. Right? And he says what? Light suffering. Do you think out of all the sufferings that we think we have to deal with, Paul would know best at the time what real suffering is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would know. But what does he categorize it as? Light. And yet sometimes we sit and complain because we have to do things that we don't want to do. Maybe we have to obey and we don't want to. We have to stop what we're doing and do what we're told. Maybe we have to take a test on material that we've already learned a million times before and you don't want to have to do it. Maybe you got to do homework over and over. You're like, I already know my times tables. Why do I have to keep writing them out? Right? And we make it into a big deal, like we're suffering. But these little things that you go through in the end, they do create a glory. And I need to stop talking. So let's leave it with that. Let's remember that the little things that we go throughout the day, throughout our lives, is nothing compared to what the apostles and everybody else had to go through. And yet they realized that major suffering that they went through is nothing compared to what we're going through. That they're not going to complain. They're not going to bicker about it. But they are going to realize that it is for the greater glory of God. Right? It says on the very end of this, beyond all comparison. We can't even imagine or compare what kind of glory will await for the suffering that we have to go through. So keep that in mind when you guys have tasks to do this day, okay?
Mm-hmm.